Isang masayang pagbati na may ngiti sa aking mga labi. Naghahanap ba kayo ng makakatuwang sa pagre-review ng inyong anak? Meron yan sa DepEd. Ang ETUlay online tutorial ay libre at handog ng ating kagawaran sa pangunguna ng OUA ICTS EdTech. Ito ay isang proyektong makatutulong sa mga mag-aaral, katuwang ang mga magulang o kasama sa kani-kanilang tahanan para masagutan at maunawaan ang mga modules. Hangad din ng programang ETUlay ang matulungan ang ating mga guro sa kanilang mga blended learning classes. Ang ating ETUlay ay mula kinder hanggang senior high school. Bukod sa academics, meron din tayong mga special programs gaya ng All is Wellness, Reading and Math Remediation, Storytelling, Mommy Tech Talks, Classes sa Gramatika, Speech Class, Financial Literacy, at marami pang iba. Pinalawig din ng ETUlay ang ating Alive program para sa mga mag-aaral mula grade 1 hanggang grade 3. Gayun din ay mayroon tayong ALS program at SPED tutorials na makasisigurong makakamit ng lahat ang inclusive education. May SPED hotline na rin para sa inyong mga katanungan patungkol sa special education. Kaya, subaybayan mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, mula 9:00 ng umaga hanggang 7:00 ng gabi ang ating ETUlay. Sa ating pagtutulungan, maiaangat natin ang bawat isa. Ating itutulay ang pagkatuto upang di mapigil ang pag-aaral ng kabataang Pilipino. Itulay natin ito, sulong edukalidad.
Mabuhay! Good day to all! I am your tutor Madge. Welcome to ETUlay, a free online tutorial, an initiative of the Department of Education, Information and Communications Technology Service, Educational Technology Unit, ICTS EdTech. This program is aimed at helping and assisting learners from kindergarten, senior high school, ALS, Alive, and SPED learners. Aside from answering the modules, the ETUlay is offering programs which you will surely look forward to. Together with our parents and teachers, the ETUlay will bridge the gaps where difficulty and ease meet in learning new knowledge and skills. So, let us prepare our module, pen and paper. Ready your mind to see and hear worthwhile and interesting lessons. Let us now study and learn, together with our volunteer online tutors. Tara na!
All right, good day to all of our learners right now who are with us. We have first honor, di ba? Ashley Ranque from Partida National High School. Welcome, welcome. Charis Dominic Calantes, Chrislyn Jane Dumasig. Welcome. Ira Faye and marami-rami na tayo. Okay, so once again, good day. Welcome to English 9. It's our 4th week. And today, I will be your teacher, your tutor for English 9. Unfortunately, tutor Ellie is not with us for today because he has an important conference he's attending right now. But, of course, he's still with us because he personally prepared this lesson for you. Unfortunately, he will not be here for the discussion, but I will take over the discussion for today. But rest assured, of course, that Tutor Ellie's full support is still with us sa ating English 9 session because, of course, siya mismo ang nag-prepare ng lesson natin for today. Ako lamang yung magdi-discuss neto. No? So before everything else, may we request you all to share this tutorial session so that we can reach out to those who needs to listen to our discussion for today. Okay, so sino pa ba hindi ko nabanggit kanina? We have Brian Rivera. Hello, good afternoon from Ramon National High School. Rafael Baligat, Princess Manipon, Who else? John Marquez, Kyla Cepeda. Welcome, welcome. So today we're going to have a deeper discussion on our previous lesson, which was, if you remember, last week was November 30, Andres Bonifacio Day, and we compared prose and poetry. So if you could remember, when we say prose, these are literary pieces that are written using natural or ordinary language, written in paragraphs, and we take into consideration the grammar and proper grammar and syntax. However, in poetry, yes, it is also a literary piece, but it is written artistically, and we use language with art and involves repetition and rhymes. If you could remember, last session we discussed the elements of poetry, such as stanzas. Oh, so sorry, mali yung content niya, but let me just discuss it. Let's fast track the review. The elements are first stanzas, which we defined as the group of lines that form the basic metrical unit of a poem. We discussed couplet, tercet, quatrain, cinquain, sestet, septet, and octave. If you could remember, what is couplet? This is a stanza that consists of 2 lines for tercet, 3 lines, quatrain, 4, and so on until octave, which is 8 lines. We also talked about tone and mood. So tone is the attitude of the writer about a subject, and mood is the emotion evoked by the author. We also discussed imagery, the use of vivid words to appeal to the senses of the readers. Figurative language, which is language that conveys a deeper and more complex meaning than what it literally says. Examples of these are simile, metaphor, hyperbole, and so on. We discussed rhythm, which is the pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables in each line. And take note that each group of stressed and unstressed syllable is called a foot. Okay, so remember that. We also discussed rhyme, which is the repetition of the same or similar sounds at the end of each line, and rhyme schemes, which is the pattern created with rhymes. Example of this is roses are red, violets are blue, I'm out of my head, I'm thinking of you. Okay, the pattern here is A, B, A, B, because our first line, last word is red, rhymes with head. Okay, so violets are blue, rhymes with you. We assign that with the capital letter B. And if we add more lines, trees, since it doesn't rhyme with any of the previous words, we assign C. And then it reminds me of you. Since there is a word similar to it, we use the letter that is assigned to it. So we use B again. So the rhyme scheme for this poem is A, B, A, B, C, B. And if you could remember, your assignment was to be a poet, to write a poem about your activities or your plans for Christmas. Okay, so we set a criteria that it should have rhyme, it should involve quatrains, it should have 3 stanzas, and the rhyme scheme should be A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F. So let's look at our outputs of the week. So these are the outputs from last week. So first, our first awardee is Vina Garing Navarro from Ocampo National High School, SDO Camarines Sur. Congratulations. Here's her poem. So the title is My Plans for Christmas. Let's have a closer look. My plans for Christmas. A lot of things I'm planning for Christmas, just like cooking for Christmas Eve and completing the evening mass, also packing the gifts to give. Celebrating with loved ones is most special, making new memories to remember. And showing my talents with full potential, it makes me excited on December. Christmas commemorates Jesus Christ's birthday. He's our Almighty God who gives us grace for every day. During Christmas, we mustn't be mad. Ayan. So yan ang output ni Vina Garing Navarro. Congratulations. Was she able to follow the criteria? Does it have rhyme? Yes. Quatrains? Yes. 3 stanzas? Yes. The rhyme scheme is A B A B C D C D E F E F. I'm just not quite sure with God and Mad. They're somehow similar, but I think we could have better rhyming for that part only. But overall, great job. Very good, Vina. Congratulations. Here's another output from Riza Pua from San Mariano National High School, SDO Isabela. So here's her poem. Let's try to have a closer look. Medyo blurred nga lang. Sabi dito, Christmas Spirit ang title niya. The wind is blowing with the cold breeze air. The children are singing everywhere. The laughter and joy are always shared. These are signs that Christmas spirit is in the air. The love we give will always be felt. The messages we convey will also be sent. The poor and the needy will now be fed. These are signs that Christmas spirit is not yet dead. The people everywhere are having fun. The fathers are bonding with their sons. The quarrel and fights are already done. These are signs that Christmas spirit is not yet gone. What a very nice message, diba, about Christmas from Riza Anupua. It's really quite a touching poem for me. Okay, so let's check. Rhyme, does it do we have rhyming words? Yes. Quatrains, 4 lines, yes. 3 stanzas, yes. What about the rhyme scheme? I think she just mistaken. Okay, here, for example, air rhymes with everywhere, shared air. Okay, so yun lang siguro napansin ko, no? The rhyming pattern is since they both rhyme, AA na siya. No? And of course, pati saan na ba yun? Sun, gun, yeah, very nice. Okay, yun lang siguro sa rhyme scheme natin. Okay, but overall, I really like the message of the Christmas spirit by Riza. So congratulations to all of those who sent, even if we were not able to include your outputs in the presentation. Still, congratulations to those who have done their assignments. And if you would like to be featured for our next session, if you would like to show your outputs, you would like to be featured for on our next session, make sure to, of course, do the assignment that will be given by the end of this session, and also make sure that you are included in the Pambansang GC, okay, of English 9. So if you are not yet included in that GC, make sure to comment down here on our Facebook Live, and our learners who are already in the group chat will add you. Okay, so ask them to add you in the GCs so that you can pass your assignments later on. Hello, everyone. Hello, Ma'am May. We have learners from San Mariano National High School. Also, Mitch Andres. Hello. Who else? We have students from Isabela, Tamika Betito, Richelle Orenya, Mapindan Junel. We also have from Kasibu, Adrian Pedro. Who else? Abigail Manalak from Gutad National High School, Marlene Villoria, Jasmine De La Roca from Solano High School. If you are not yet included in the GC, ask your classmates, of course, magkakaklase na kayo ngayon dito, to join, ask for permission to join the group chat. Okay, so make your classmates let them be informed that you are not yet included so that they may add you. Okay, so for this week, we are already in our 4th week. So for today, we're going to talk about sonnets. Our module reference is the ADM module. So for our objectives, we have first, we are going to analyze the elements of a sonnet, appreciate the importance of elements of poetry reflected on the given sonnets, and you're going to, by the end of this lesson, create an analysis of the given sonnet as to its elements. So, again, if you remember, we compared prose and poetry in terms of structure or form, syntax, constant types, language styles, and content and purpose. So for your first activity, let's analyze a poem. Okay? So let's take a closer look at this poem. And then, could you please, tignan natin yung mga students natin na nanonood ngayon sa FB Live. Comment comment the things that you notice about this poem. Okay, based on our discussion, when it comes to its structure, its form, what kind of stanzas are used, rhyme schemes, anyone? Tignan natin. Let's see. So how many first? Let's have the first question. How many lines does the poem have? Okay, there you go. How many lines does this poem have? Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. I bet this is familiar for some of you. How many lines does this poem have? Okay, so you answered 4, but I want the whole the line counts of the whole poem. Okay, not just the first stanza. How many lines does this whole poem have? So it has 4 lines in probably in the first, second, and third stanza, but how many lines in total do we have? Let's see. Ashley, very good. There are 14 lines. Very good, Gio. So there are 14 lines in this poem. Okay, let's have a closer look at this poem by answering another question. How many lines per stanza? Okay, eto na yun. Per stanza, first stanza, how many lines does the first stanza have? How many lines does the first stanza have? Hello, welcome, Jean Aldion and Andrew Marigmen. How many lines does the first stanza have? 4. Very good. How about the second stanza? How many lines does the second stanza have? Yes, exactly. Very good. Thank you, Riza, Abigail, Ashley, Isabella, Adrian. 4. There are 4 lines. How about the third stanza? Obviously, 4. And what about the last stanza? How many lines does it have? Okay, 4 lines for first, second, and third stanza. And for the last stanza, how many lines do we have? Yes, very good. We have 2 lines for the last stanza. Okay, let's have another question. Let's have another observation about the poem. What do you call each type of stanzas that the poem have? So for the first stanza, since it has 4 lines, what kind of stanza is this? What do we call a stanza that consists of 4 lines? Do you remember? What type of stanza does stanza that consists of 4 lines? What do you call that that type of stanza? Quatrain. Very good, Ashley. Thank you very much. The first stanza is a quatrain. Second stanza, of course, is a quatrain since it also has 4 lines. Same with the third stanza. What about for the last stanza? Since it has 2 lines only, what do you call this stanza? What do you call the last stanza? What do you call a stanza that has 2 lines? Thank you. Very good. The last one is a. Very good. DA. Ashley, this is a couplet. Very good. Good observation. It means that you have listened very well with our previous lesson. And what are the last words in each line? Okay, now we're going to look at the rhyming words. So we have, of course, medyo marami-rami na to. So let's have it already. Of course, there we go. We have day, May, temperate, date. shines, declines, dimmed, untrimmed, fade, shade, uh, oast, grossed, where is it? C and the. And medyo maliit lang ang screen ko, sorry. There we have it. Those are the last words in each line. And those are the words that rhyme, okay? So, what then is the rhyme scheme? There we have it. A B A B C D C D E F E F G G. Ayan. So that is the rhyme scheme of this poem. Now, let's see. What then, with those characteristics, what then is the type of poem? What is the type of poem? So if you already know, this is called a sonnet, okay? So this is what we call a sonnet. It's a 14-line poem. Remember these features, learners. It's a 14-line poem. How many lines? 14. In iambic pentameter, we're going to have a deeper discussion on what an iambic pentameter is later on, okay, with a carefully patterned rhyme scheme. So, judging from this definition alone, we can say that a sonnet is something very, very technical. When you write a sonnet, it's very technical. First, of course, it needs to have 14 lines. It should have a carefully patterned rhyme scheme, which is A, B, C, D, E, F, and then the last two lines are a G, G. And when we say iambic pentameter refers to the rhythm of the poem. So let's go back to the poem. Sige, tingnan natin. So when you say iambic pentameter, an iamb refers to the first syllable will be unstressed, followed by a stressed syllable. So it's somewhat like a heartbeat. So it's like the rhythm should be like a heartbeat, the dum, ganon. The dum, the dum, the dum, the dum, the dum. The best example is shown in the first line of the, let's go back. Ayan. Best example of this, what we call an iamb, spelled as I-A-M-B, is this fifth line. Sometime too hot, the eye of heaven shines. So if we annotate this, we use an X mark. Okay, we're going to use an X mark, ganitong mark. Yan, nakikita nyo ba? Yan, we'll use an X mark for the unstressed syllable. And ganyan yung parang check for the stressed syllable. Okay? So if we have a closer look on this fifth line, we have some time too hot, the eye of heaven shines. Ayan. Sorry, ang ganda ng sulat ko, no? Ayan. So, when you say an iamb, it's first, it should be first an unstressed syllable followed by a stressed syllable. Unstressed, stressed. Sometime. So that's one. Let's have a different color. Yan. Sometime. Yan o. Too hot. The eye of heaven shines. Very good observation from DA. So each of these is called a foot. Let's have a pointer. Each of these is called a foot. Now, if you notice this yellow line, I divide each foot. And if you would count, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 feet in this line. That is why it's called an iambic pentameter. Okay? So iamb, meaning this unstressed followed by a stressed, sometime, too hot, the eye of heaven shines. So that's, each of those are iamb. So when we say iambic pentameter, each line should be consisting of 5 feet or 5 meters with each containing iambs. Okay, so if you notice for the next lines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. See, when those who wrote these sonnets really thought this through, so they did not just put in words, but they really thought of not just the rhymes, but also the rhyme scheme. So it should be written in iambic pentameter. Very good, DA. Yes, 5 feet is a pentameter, and they should be iambs. Now, what about the first line? Parang medyo awkward naman ata yung, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Parang ang pangit naman ata. Well, sometimes the iambs are inverse. So instead of unstressed to stressed, we sometimes use first a stressed followed by an unstressed. So let me try again to annotate this first line. So we can say, shall I compare thee? Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Ayun, ang ganda ng ano ko. Oh, the wonders of technology. Akong sa Blackboard lang to, di ba? Okay lang. Okay, so see, look at this. Shall is unstressed. I is stressed. Shall I? Let's divide them into each meter. Let me try this. Yan. 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 So when we count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 meters for this line. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? So if you would notice, the third meter has an inverse pattern. So instead of unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, this is stressed, unstressed. Okay? Well, sometimes they vary, but the main feature should be, it should be composed of 5 meters. And iambic, yan yung ano yun, stressed, a combination of a stressed and unstressed syllable. You should notice that in our other examples of sonnets later on. Okay? Excuse me. Let's proceed. So again, let's review. A sonnet is a poem that has how many lines? 14. What pattern? Iambic pentameter. And what rhyme scheme? A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. So that is a sonnet. Now, there are also 2 types of sonnet. So let's discuss sonnets right now. First, okay, where are we? I think I thought I was lost. So sonnets were first written as love poems, which started in Italy by Francesco Petrarch in the 14th century. So he was the first known major sonnet writer, and he wrote a lot of poems compiled in a book called Canzoniere, if I said that properly, which means songs. Also, his first epic poem, Africa, and other writings on Roman history made him very popular in Europe, and in 1341 he became Rome's poet laureate and one who is appointed to write poems for special events and occasions for the government. Yun ang naging role niya as a poet. Another is, we have William Shakespeare, a well-known dramatist and poet who started using sonnets during the Elizabethan era. And he was born in Stratford upon Avon, England. He is regarded also as the god of English literature. Sorry, I think my screen is too small. Yeah, let me adjust it. There we go. So today, Shakespeare is known as one of the most prolific sonnet writers of all time. And he wrote how many sonnets? Remember this, 154 sonnets, which were published in 1609 by Thomas Thorpe. Okay, let's see how well you remember those details. Let's just have a quick quiz. Okay, true or false? Sonnets are types of poetry. Dear students, let's see your answers. Sonnets are types of poetry. Is that true or false? Sonnets are types of poetry, or is it prose? Hello, Edzelin Acosta from Cabatuan, Isabela. Miamar Bagtona from Solano High School. Okay, again, students, true or false? Sonnets are types of poetry. Is it true? Is it false? It's true, yes. It is a type of poetry. Number 2, it was Shakespeare who created the sonnets. Is this true or false? Is this true or false? Shakespeare created or invented the sonnets. Is it true or false? This is false. I did not say that he created sonnets, although he is famous for his sonnets. He did not invent the sonnets. Who created the sonnets? It's up to you to find out. Okay, let's proceed. True or false? Again, Shakespeare wrote 154 sonnets. Is it really that many? True or false? Shakespeare wrote 154 sonnets. Is this true or false? Yes, this is true. Very good. He indeed wrote 154 sonnets. So, judging from those from that discussion, we have two types of sonnets. We have Petrarchan sonnets and Shakespearean sonnets. So you have to remember this, dear students. We have two types of sonnets, Petrarchan and Shakespearean. Here, let's define these two. Petrarchan sonnet is also called an Italian sonnet canonized by Francesco Petrarch. He dedicated his sonnets to a beautiful woman named Laura. And he wrote a total of 317 sonnets for her. Okay, di ba? Para siguro ang haba naman ng hair nitong si Laura sulatan ng 317 sonnets si Petrarch. Because take note, writing a sonnet is very technical. Di ba? It's not just a mumbo jumbo of words. You have to think not just of the rhyme, but of course of the form, the structure, and of course the rhythm. On the other hand, Shakespearean sonnets are called English sonnets, popularized by William Shakespeare, who wrote 154 sonnets. So sonnets 1 to 126, those sonnets were dedicated to a young man, and the rest of his sonnets were dedicated to a dark lady. So let's take a closer look on a Petrarchan or an Italian sonnet. So again, ladies, students, I want you to take note of the structure of each sonnet. So again, what are the things that we need to consider? Of course, we have to consider the rhyme. What else? Rhyme scheme, the structure, the stanzas, what type of stanzas are used, how many lines are used in each stanza. Okay, so there are, this is the first type of sonnet, Petrarchan or Italian sonnet. What do you notice about this sonnet? Okay, first, let me help you. First, how many lines does it have? Of course, ayan, you can see the numbering. It's 14 lines. There are 14 lines in this sonnet, as all sonnets should be. Or should have, I mean. Okay, so what about the first stanza? How many lines does the first stanza have? How many lines does this first stanza have? Let's see who would answer first. Medyo may konting latency, but I'll wait for your answers. Okay, Riza, there are 8 lines in the first stanza. What then is the type of stanza used in the first stanza? What they call a stanza with 8 lines. You should remember this. I bet you do, because We had a quiz before. We discussed this, and you all, almost all of you, got it right. What do you call a stanza that has 8 lines? That's our first stanza. How many lines again? So we have 8. There you go. Then what type of stanza is this? Very good. This is an octave. Then what about the second stanza? How many lines does it have? Thank you very much, Ashley, Graymar, Gio. That's right. The first stanza is an octave. What about the second stanza then? What do you call this stanza? What type of stanza is used in the second stanza? How many lines is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it has 6 lines, what is the type of stanza used? 6 lines is what type of stanza? I'll wait for your answers. Thank you very much, Ms. Rona Moreno, watching from Calaisan Elementary School. Hello, hello. Yes, that's right. There are 6 lines in the second stanza. What then is the type of stanza used in the second stanza? What is the type of stanza? What type of stanza is this? Very good. Abigail, Ashley, Marjorie, Sarsuela, Gio, it's a sestet. There you go. So these are 14 lines divided into how many sections? 2. First is an octave, 8 lines. Second is a sestet, 6 lines with a total of 14 lines. So the feature of a sonnet containing 14 lines, correct? So this format is a Petrarchan sonnet. There we go. This is the title of the Petrarchan sonnet. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. Or Sonnet 43 by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Let's proceed. Okay, here are more observations about the sonnet. The first 8 lines present a problem or an argument. So let's try to read it. Let me try to zoom in for you. There you go. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height. My soul can reach when feeling out of sight for the ends of being and ideal grace. I love thee to the level of every day's most quiet need by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely as men strive for right. I love thee purely as they turn from praise. So the observation here is that the first 8 lines present a problem or an argument. What is the problem? How do I love thee? And then the last 6 lines provide an answer or a resolution. Let's have a closer look. I love thee with the passion put to use in my old griefs with my childhood's faith. I love thee with the love I seem to lose with my lost saints. I love thee with the breath, smiles, tears of all my life. And if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death. Oh, grabe, diba? What greater love than to love even after death, diba? Or the vow is only till death. But this, sabi niya dito, even after death, diba? Such great love. So, let's proceed. Where is it? Okay, there we go. Now, the rhyme scheme here plays around. If you would notice, look at this. It's ABBA, ABBA, CDE, CDE. So we can have this format for a Petrarchan sonnet. It can also be ABBA, ABBA, CDE, DEC. Or the last lines would be CDC, DCD. So if you really notice, it really involves very I like what I said. It's very technical. Writing sonnets are very, very technical. So let's look at the rhyme scheme of this sonnet. Okay, so ways, height, since it doesn't rhyme with ways, you assign with a different letter. Height, sight, it rhymes with the previous line, so that's, oh no, sorry, Ako, nagkamali ata ako. Okay, let me just remove that then. I think that's wrong. Let's just identify it. There we go. Ways, height, sight, grace. So that's A. Hold on, let me use my pointer. That's ways A, B, B, A. Right? There we go. A, B, B, A. Second part, second half of this first stanza. Days, light, right, praise. See, ways, it rhymes with grace. Days and praise. So A, B, B, A, light, right, rhymes with height and sight. So those are also B, B. So A, B, B, A, B, B, A. So was that right? Yes. So A, B, B, A, B, B, A. What about for the second half of this sonnet? Use, faith, lose, breath. Also, that's C. That's because that's a different rhyme. This different sound. Use is C. Faith, it doesn't rhyme with anything. So D. Lose doesn't rhyme with anything. E. Breath. What? How about this? Faith, breath, and then if God choose, or rhymes with lose, death. Ayan, a breath. So D, E, and then D again. There you go. So the first stanza should have a rhyming scheme of A, B, B, A, B, B, A. And for the last parts, they vary. So different sonnets may vary. So, but this is what sets apart a Petrarchan sonnet from a Shakespearean sonnet. First is of course, it's written in first an octave followed by a sestet and rhyming scheme using ABBA, ABBA, and for the rest, we have various rhyme schemes. So that is for, do not notice that nagkamali lang po ako, nagkabaliktad lang. Yun lang pala yung nagkabaliktad. Okay, let's go. So that's for the Petrarchan sonnet. Okay, let's answer these questions. Quick quiz. Petrarchan sonnets are also called, what is the other term for Petrarchan sonnet? Let's see the answers from our students. I mentioned this before. Okay, what is another term for Petrarchan sonnet? Hello, welcome. Watching from Ramon National High School, Limuel Alberto. Hello, hello. To Ryan Palisok from Gapfood National High School. Very good, Graham R. This is an Italian sonnet. What about this? Very good, also Marjorie. Kahit nalilate yung mga comments nyo, just go ahead because I can see your comments. Ashley, very good. What about this question? Petrarchan sonnets are divided into 2 sections, summed up to 14 lines. So what are they? What type of stanzas are used in a Petrarchan sonnet? Very good also from the previous question. Very good also to Barun Emil, Adrian Pedro, Abigail Manalak, Riza Anog. Very good. Yes. A Petrarchan sonnet is also called an Italian sonnet. Now, what about for this question? There are 2 stanzas used in a Petrarchan sonnet. What do you call those stanzas? What types of stanzas are used in a Petrarchan sonnet? Very good also, Gio. Do you remember? Of course, the first stanza is an 8-line stanza. What do you call that? Second stanza is a 6-liner stanza. What do you call those? Very good, Marjorie Sarsuela. Octave and sestet. That is exactly right. So first 8 lines, then 6 lines. So you remember those features of a Petrarchan sonnets. It also has 14 lines, but only consists of 2 stanzas, an octave and a sestet. And the rhyme scheme is ABBA, ABBA, and for the others, it can be CDE, DEC, and so on and so forth. Very good. Let's continue. Very good also. Graham R, got it right. Ashley, Riza, Barun, Emil, Gio, Adrian Pedro, you got that right. Very good. Now, let's compare the Petrarchan sonnet with a Shakespearean sonnet or an English sonnet. So, this is also 14 lines, but it's divided into three sections, sabi dito. Hold on, is that three sections? No, those four sections. Okay, so three quatrains and finally a couplet. Okay, so three quatrains meaning first stanza has 4 lines, second has 4 lines, third has 4 lines, and last has 2 lines only. So it's a couplet. So it's a total of 14 lines. This is Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day by William Shakespeare. It's Sonnet 18. This is a very famous no, sonnet used in high school. So I think even in my time, we used to memorize this sonnet. It's quite easy to memorize because of the easy, rhyme scheme. Okay, so for the first two quatrains, it presents a proposition, an argument, or a problem. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a day. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometimes declines by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. So that's the first two quatrains. For the third quatrain, it presents a turn from the question to an answer. So from this to this, but sabi dito, but thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest. Nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. And in the final stanza, which is of course 2 lines, it's called a couplet. You remember that? And the final couplet provides the theme of the poem or the final answer. Sabi dito, so long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. Di ba? It's a very wonderfully written sonnet by William Shakespeare. So the rhyme scheme here is A, B, A, B. There you go. C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G, just like what we mentioned before. Now, let me just bring this to your attention because most of the students, most students get this wrong. When you talk about our rhyme scheme, it's not just one. The assignment of letters is not just one stanza. For example, if you use day here, of course, you assign it as May. Temperate, B. May, A, date, B, because they May, hold on, let me use my pointer. May rhymes with day. Now, when you go to the second stanza, and for example, for the first line, you use, for example, way. It won't be a different letter. Since you use the word way, it rhymes with day and May. The letter should not be C, it should be A. So most students get this do not get this. When we talk about the rhyme scheme, it applies to the whole of the poem. It's not just the stanza. So when you write your own poem, for example, our assignment last week was to write using an A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F pattern or rhyme scheme. If you use letter A for day, all of the words that rhymes with day in the whole poem should be letter A. Okay? So here's a tip if you are going to identify the rhyme scheme. For example, for the first word, day, you write letter A. You look at all of the words of the entire poem, the last words of each line, and each word that rhymes with day should be letter A. For day, May, kunwari naka-encounter kayo dito, biglang merong way, biglang merong, pag may way dito, that will be letter A. Hindi porke nasa ibang stanza na siya, pwede na kayong gumamit ng ibang letter. Okay? So you have to remember that, dear learners. Okay? So again, the reason why we used CD, CD here, because shines does not rhyme with any of the previous words. The reason why we use G here, C, it does not rhyme with any of these. Tignan mo yung past. Let's look at the past words. Grows, shade, oast, fade, untrimmed, declines, dimmed, shines, date, May, temperate, day. Does not rhyme with C. That's why they assigned a different letter. Okay, so remember that, dear learners, if you're going to identify the rhyme scheme, for example, first word is they, you write a, and look at all of the last word of each line, and all words that rhyme with they will be assigned with the same letter as this. Okay, so most of the students get this wrong, but since we have this tutorial session, I think you should know that. Okay, so again, Shakespearean sonnets have rhyme schemes of A B A B, C D C D, E F E F, G G. Okay, remember that. So here's a quick quiz again. Answer the following questions. How many sonnets were written by William Shakespeare? Do you remember how many sonnets were written? Do you remember how many sonnets, sorry. Very good, Baron Vince Emile. He wrote a total of 154 sonnets. Very good also to Graymar, Ashley, Riza. Very good. Now, another question. What are the parts or stanzas that compose an English or Shakespearean sonnet? What types of stanzas are used in the Shakespearean sonnet? Very good also, Adrian Pedro. That's right. Shakespeare wrote 154 sonnets. And if you would remember, we said that he wrote, where was it? I, I I think I mentioned it in the. I think I mentioned it previously. Yes, I mentioned it previously. He wrote 128 sonnets for a young man, about a young man, and the rest were dedicated to a dark lady. Let's see. 100. Very good also. Abigail, Adrian, nasabi ko na kanina, Gio. Very good. That's right, Ashley. Um, there we go. It consists of 3 quatrains and 1 couplet. Quatrains, 4 lines. Couplet, 2 lines. Very good. Grammar also. You got that right. There we go. So again, sonnets have 2 types. We have Petrarchan sonnets and a Shakespearean sonnet. So they both they're both composed of 14 lines, usually about faith and love. But what sets them apart is, of course, the rhyme scheme. Again, if you could remember, if you can type the rhyme scheme of a Petrarchan and a Shakespearean sonnet in the comment, that would be great. What sets them apart? They both have 14 lines. And what sets Shakespearean sonnets and Petrarchan sonnets apart? Can you identify and put it down on the comment section? So sonnets would attract writers who are very technical, okay? Who has great technical skills, okay? And are fascinated with intellectual puzzles and intrigued by the complexity of human emotions. So if you are the type of person who really likes to think things through when you write something, I invite you to write your own sonnet. Okay, but you have to remember, first, of course, identify what type of sonnet you would like to write, and you have to stick to the characteristics of a sonnet. It should have 14 lines written in Iambic Pentameter, just like what we said earlier, because that gives you the rhythm of the sonnet. You should think that through also. And of course, the rhyme scheme. Okay, so if you would like to write your own sonnets, well and good. Make sure you follow the rhyme scheme, the rhythm used in writing a sonnet. Okay, so I invite you to write your own sonnets, dear learners. Okay, so sabi ni nito, when it comes to dealing with sonnet traditional subjects, also if you like to write about love and faith, that would be very good if you write a sonnet about it. So let's try to review the objectives that we had before. Were we able to analyze elements of a sonnet? I think we did, didn't we? Yes, we analyzed of Petrarchan sonnet and Shakespearean sonnet, right? And Also, appreciate the importance of the elements of poetry reflected on the given sonnets. Just like what I told you before, writing sonnets is very technical. That's why we really appreciate these written works by these author or by these poets, because it's it really appreciate it more when we understand how well those sonnets are written, right? Reading it is one thing, but really understanding how it was written is something else. And for me, when I learned about this, it's kind of mind-blowing because remember, Shakespeare wrote how many? 154 sonnets. Petrarch more, even more. And with that kind of technical skill, diba, it's really a not, I don't think it's just a skill. Of course, it's also a talent, right? But since it's a technical skill, it means that you can also develop this skill by, of course, exercising your ability to write. So I invite you to write your own sonnets. And if you can send it to our GC. And for the last objective, which is to create an analysis of the given sonnet as to its elements, this is what I am going to ask you to do for the additional activity. Since there we go. For the poem analysis, you are going to analyze this poem by first. I want you to copy the poem that I'm going to flash, and then using our previous lesson on annotation, you are going to annotate this sonnet, okay? And then, for example, dito, label the lines according to their division as quatrains and couplets, how it should be divided. Make use of annotation and marks to comment on the sonnet. Underline the end words and write the rhyme scheme using the alphabet, just like this one. Here's the poem. So take a screenshot, copy this poem, and annotate. Where should the lines break? Yung alin yung mga lines na maghihiwalay dapat, ganyan. And then you underline the rhyming words. You can annotate using the letters for rhyme scheme. You can also use a color-coded letters. For example, letter A would be red, ganyan. That would be very good. And you can also do the example that I showed you for us to show that it contains an iambic pentameter. Let me try. For example, my mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. How do we annotate that? Yung ganito, yung pinakita ko kanina, yung X. Oh, sorry, it's yellow. You cannot see that. Sindali lang. Let's go. Ayan. My mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. You can do that. Yan. You can do something like this. An X mark is for an unstressed syllable. A check mark is for the stressed syllable. That's why we identify it as an iambic pentameter. My mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. O, diba? Did you follow that? My mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. You can annotate it that way. So that is your assignment. You copy this sonnet by William Shakespeare, which is Sonnet 130. You annotate it, identify which lines should be separate. Of course, when it's a Shakespearean sonnet, it should have 3 quatrains and a couplet. Remember that. Identify also the rhyme scheme. Okay, what words rhyme? Okay, you don't just write things. For example, you really analyze it. Sun, what rhymes with sun? Go through the whole poem, and which rhymes with sun should have the same letter. So A for sun and the rest. Okay, so that will be your assignment for me to be assured that you really understood sonnets. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, dear students, if we have teachers watching, we want to have your feedback. I apologize for this QR code; it's not active. I wasn't able to generate a QR code for this, but this will be the link. Okay, so for your feedback and for the exit assessment, it will be active after our session. So make sure to answer our exit assessment, dear learners, because of course, by the end of our quarter, we also assign the most participative students, the most achieving students that we have together with tutor Ellie. Okay, so once again, this has been our 4th week So congratulations to all of you for for being with us throughout our journey from the first quarter to to this time. Okay, so if you missed our session today, our replays are saved in our DepEd Facebook page, which is DepEd Edtech Unit, and also from our YouTube channel, which is DepEd Educational Technology Unit. And stay tuned. Always tune with us every Tuesday, 3 to 3:40 p.m. for our English 9. So I am your tutor Joe Pilas Pilas together with tutor Ellie. Okay, so also we would like to request that you support our other tutors teaching in our other grade levels. So if you would like to review lessons from grade 7 or even from your grade 8 lessons, you can go back. If you want advanced lesson, you can also watch our English 10. So these are our tutors for the junior high school. Thank you very much for those who have actively joined. Baron Vince Emil, although I was not able to read your answer. Still thank you because of the latency of our stream. Sometimes your answers are late, but rest assured that we really appreciate all of your involvement. So thank you very much. That ends our week 4 session for English 9, which is on sonnets. Remember, make sure to send your assignments to our GC. Those who are not yet in the GC, I request the students who are already in the GC to add those who would like to be included in our GC. Thank you very much. And that is the end of our session. Take care. God bless. Stay safe.
Ang husay naman! Natapos mo ang iyong tutorial session kasama ang iyong mahusay na ETUlay tutor. May bago ka bang natutuhan? I-share na yan gamit ang hashtag ETUlay Level Up. Huwag aalis ha, dahil may susunod pang programa na pwede mo ring panoorin at salihan dahil naghihintay na ang iyong mga tutors. Happy learning dito sa ETUlay!